So I wanted to share with you today a couple of things that I think, or at least three things, right? Today's topic is three signs that your coping skills aren't working and why they're not. Uh, it's really as simple as yes, we're all experiencing pandemic circumstances. And then there's coping skills that might look not quite as healthy as we're used to. And of course, again, just remember that these are unusual circumstances. So make sure you're practicing a mindfulness approach where you're forgiving yourself, you're giving yourself a little bit of leeway, and not being too hard on yourself. But a few weeks back, I did a video about the uptick in alcohol consumption. And I think a lot of people are going through a lot of stress and anxiety, obviously, and there are vices that are used to help get one through it. But then there are the other patterns that you can see to take a look at and perhaps look for yourself how it is that you're shifting in the way in which your coping mechanisms that are usual fail safe for you tongue twister there. A usual fail safe for you. However, now it's just with all these things happening, it's hard to really rely on that. So how to spot it? Maybe you're feeling a little bit blurred. You're not really able to spot it. So here are three more signs I want to add in conjunction, of course, with the alcohol uptick that was noted a while back in another video. So here's one: the obsessive drive for perfectionism. A lot of times when we're feeling out of control, we want to control something. So what we can tend to do is fall into patterns of things that was not really on our radar to do, but in order to calm the nerves or to get a little bit of control, the obsessiveness with cleaning happens. For instance, I'm using something that um, is a double-edged sword because you want to keep your place clean, but at the same time, how clean and how obsessed are you? So it's things like that you might want to look at. I'm just using that as one example of perfectionism. It could be anything that you feel you need to be perfectly in control about because everything else seems to not be as easily controllable, right? And of course, it's understandable for cleaning to be one of the things that we look at. However, how extreme you go with that in your own home, um, gauge a little bit and see how that fares for you. What is your vice in the realm of perfectionism and control? That's the essence of this first point. Number two, okay, what about the opposite of perfectionism? What I like to call the let it all go ism situation. All right, what that means is, for instance, people are looking to be consoled right now, to feel a little bit more normal or feel a little bit more comfort. So sometimes there's a fallback on food, eating a lot more chocolates, eating a lot more carbs and candies throughout the weeks as the weeks go by, the months go by. And you may have noticed some changes in your body shape, in the way in which you sleep, in the way in which your mood is, etc. So letting it all go ism can be the answer to perfectionism to a certain extent, but gauge that for yourself and make sure that you're not going overboard and being a little bit too lax in how you start to incorporate habits that work against a sense of mood and balance for yourself. Okay, so that can also cancel out your usual go-to mechanism for coping, right? So what's number three? Okay, so you might be quietly panicking in the depths of your being, but did you know that the third sign might actually be a sign of how your body copes with stress? So, for instance, you're panicking in the depths of your throat, your stomach, your back, your shoulders, right? Are you experiencing more body aches, right? So does that sound familiar, right? And of course, we all go through moments of that when we're experiencing physical stresses as a result of an emotional stressor, right? So the body is not separate from your emotion. Your mind isn't separate from your body. Wherever you go, there you are. That's an old Buddhist saying. So notice if you're feeling a lot of pain in your body. It might be for many different reasons, but again, remember, these are pandemic times. So if this sounds familiar, under pandemic circumstances, the challenge is that all three of the usual worry-worthy conditions apply. For instance, you may one day worry about your health and you're fine with everything else going on around you. Or another day you're worrying about your family and your health is fine and everything else around you is fine. But in pandemic situations, not only are you worried about your health, but you're also worried about your family's health, your neighborhood's health, and of course, the world is in crisis. So how can anybody in their right mind think they can control that, right? So of course you're gonna lapse in your normal, usual way of coping. Your usual skills are gonna be required to up the scales a bit in how you manage and take care of yourself. And maybe it's not about managing like with a firm grip. Maybe it is a balance between let it goism and perfectionism, right? Where's that balance for you? So, what are you forgetting to do as well? Are you forgetting to breathe? Are you hydrating, right? And in mindfulness and yoga and Buddhism, are you riding the wave? Now, there's a phrase that's stated as such, it's a quote, which in essence says, are you riding the wave? Are you going with the flow? Are you accepting things more easily, or is it harder for you to do? Check where you are in that balance. Which one are you? Are you in between? Are you to the extreme, etc.? It's good to do that assessment every now and then. And how do you find spaciousness? Now, there's a whole thing that I teach about that. And it's a little unique in its way because I do believe as a teacher, as a meditator, and as someone who teaches meditation and ways in which one can live their life in the most peaceful way. It's not about being perfectly peaceful. There's no such thing. Part of being human is to go through small crisis, small challenges, big crisis, manage those, get up again, try it again. Let's start it over. Oh, I learned something new. That's what life is about. That's what being human is about. So what are you doing to create that for yourself? What does that look like for you now, right? How are you judging it for yourself? So if you'd like to find out how to breathe a little bit more, how to hydrate a little bit more, or more importantly, how do you want to figure out how to ride that wave to create that space? If you'd like to learn out more about those little tips, leave a comment below. Give me a thumbs up. Give this video a high five or what have you, whichever way in which you feel comfortable leaving a comment. Let me know if something like that would be useful to you right now. All right, with that said, we've come to the end of this live video. So enjoy your day. Namaste.